Wally here. Welcome back to Advisor to Men. We're going to talk about perception and perspective. It so happens that I often speak with men who are perplexed at how to handle their partner's foul moods. When she's in a pissy mood, it throws me off my game, they will say. And it follows that they feel significant disregard from her in the home when she's in such a frame of mind. And just think for a moment about the word disregard. You already know it means to not pay attention to either something or someone, to ignore. Get a sense of how her emotional state affects you. If you find her mood bothersome, unsettling, distracting, etc., and that it preoccupies your thoughts and feelings, ask yourself why that is. When else have you felt this way? When is the first time those feelings made their way into your awareness? At what other time did you find your body and being negatively affected by someone else? You might even body trace your present feelings to the very first time you remember feeling these sensations. Now think of how in this instance you are affected by her foul mood, that these are her negative feelings. And ask yourself how those feelings are somehow influencing and even directing your own feelings today. How can it be that you, a separate person from her, are suddenly taking on her foul mood? I know. It's like we're following the contagion of a yawn. One person yawn, everybody else starts doing it. Her negative mood says jump, and in response, your nervous system says how high. Now you can see the Taming Shame course for a full dissection and strategies around this topic. The biggest mistake a man makes in those situations is taking things personally. He does it automatically, subconscious. His nervous system putting out a hypothesis which has worked in the past for him to evaluate and possibly adopt here in the present. And the thing is, to take on her negativity, he must relegate who he is presently to a former version of himself. In all likelihood, to a time in his life when his very existence depended on the kindness and goodwill of a powerful figure. That's usually mom. Not always, but it's usually mom. In those long ago moments, he may have had fear strike into the center of his heart. Let me explain. I have two older brothers. They were born 11 months or so apart, and that makes them Irish twins, as siblings born within 12 months of each other are known. And it's something very common in Irish Catholic families. My very devoted ma had 10 pregnancies in 12 years. Bless her Irish Newfie heart. Rest in peace, ma. A daughter soon followed the birth of my two older brothers, but she died in the days after she was born. It was the 1950s, and ma blamed painting the basement stairs with lead paint during her pregnancy for losing the child. Cursed herself for years. Well, I was born next, 9 pounds, 10 ounces of maternal redemption. As a youngster, I longed to be part of an older boys trio in a family of 11. You needed allies. The gap between my age and my two older brothers, caused by the birth and loss of my deceased sister, Mary Claire, that was the name that ma gave her, made it difficult for them to really take me seriously. I was very much the lesser brother, never fully accepted but tolerated, especially if I was useful. My brother once told me, not too long ago, but maybe 10 or 15 years ago, he said, all they had to do to get me to do something was dare me. And a double dare meant it was as good as done. Strive as I might to belong, equality wasn't possible. The age hierarchy was too great an influence. So when it came time for punishments, an exception was made. I was often lumped in with them when things went wrong. I remember ma would get pissed at my older brothers, Duncan and Stephen, especially at my oldest brother, Duncan, and threatened to send us all to the boys' reformatory in Alfred, Ontario. We knew it existed because Mr. Bougie, who lived down the street, reportedly worked there. And I was 6 or 7, and she'd say she was going to call Mr. Bougie and send us off. And of course, I believed her. When I first got wind of it that first time, I even remember asking her if she was serious, and in her frustration, she insisted that she was. Oh, the horror! I expected the boys' prison van to pull up at any moment and take us away. What did I know? It was one of the many Sword of Damocles scenarios of my childhood. Talk about abandonment fear. That weakness lingered in the back of my emotional self as an adult. A similar thing happens in an infinite number of ways to countless men. Parents install abandonment fear in children, mostly with good intentions, and sometimes in frustration. And they do it for the sake of survival and socialization. A 3-year-old will walk onto a busy road unawares until we drive home the idea that cars might run them over. They ask what would happen. We tell them it will hurt and it may kill them. More importantly, that we may never see them again and that this would make us very sad. We may repeat that theme for years to effect change in the kids' roadside protocol, so they look both ways before attempting to cross a goddamn street. Abandonment fear, it's leverage that works. So next time you find yourself a little out of sorts, when she's out of sorts, stop and track its true source. Almost always, it's not what's before you. Rather, it's a prediction from long ago coming back from your nervous system in case it's useful once more in the present. The trick is to use perception and perspective. You must have the perception to know you are triggered by your partner beyond what the circumstances before you call for, and realize the predictive nervous system is doing its thing. Keep in mind, all you own in life as an adult are 3 things: your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. How is it that you, a grown man, are controlled as if you're an emotional puppet? By asking these questions, you may gain perspective. I have long ago abandoned free will, so I'm saying that with awareness, you can exercise a little more free won't. You can put her remarks or foul mood or detachment into its proper context. Soon, you and I both may see it's not about me or about you. In fact, it's more that her gifts sometimes turn on her. Her fantastic powers of wider scope with heightened sensitivity to sickness and danger are often too much for her to bear, and it catches up with her and she suffers accordingly. It means she sometimes finds herself in a protection mode instead of in a connection mode. The Quebec French up my way, they have a saying for that. Nous avons tous les défauts de nos qualités. We all have the faults of our qualities. Context is everything. I guess we could say that this is what is meant by there's a price to pay for everything and there's nothing for nothing. The last thing I need to do is to make things worse by failing to realize that she is temporarily offline. So if possible, I rescue her from her insanity with a little reassurance. What I won't do is make it worse by becoming needy in the face of her discontent. That's like adding fuel to the fire, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Instead, we can best tend to order in the kingdom around us and remain unflustered by her foul mood. If possible, encourage her. If necessary, I may hold up my hand and impose a limit. I'm nobody's punching bag. Remember, respect is earned or taken. The wrong guy signal, said with a calm smile, deflects her angst elsewhere. But it is compassion that best serves you both. Compassion for myself and what might trigger me, and compassion for her as her gifts turn on her to create her discomfort. Compassion is like that. It spreads. It goes 2 ways. It seems to me that the feminized culture complains that men need more compassion. Well, kill two birds with one stone by starting with you. Surely we can do that for a partner. We can do that for ourselves, for us, for Team Human. Only men can ensure that love prevails in a home. You can't do it without you. Men lead, women command. Next time, use perception and perspective to rise up and remain a powerful man, a powerful defender of life. Could you do that? You have any questions? You have any comments? Holler at me. I'll be sure to answer. Meantime, like, subscribe. You know that routine. Until next time, stay powerful, true, and free. Thanks for watching.